you can research hard, like Shorob Uncle mentioned, and you can actually find scholarships that not many people apply to.
Welcome to Why Knowledge Matters. I'm so happy, Shorof and Adib, to have you on the show right now. I'm really fond of Shorof. I know you very well, and you're such a fine human being. And I also know you very well, Adib. And it's such a pleasure to talk to you today about global scholarship. So let's start. And of course, I want to introduce you first and foremost, Shorof. You are basically the founder of Global Scholarship, and you are also contributing tremendously back home, actually in Bangladesh. You now are in Canada, but you still are connected to Bangladesh. You run there very successfully a non-profit organization helping kids with special needs. And it really relates well to global scholarship because there too, you are serving people, especially young people who want to find a good education abroad, especially in the Western world. And of course, thank you so much to Adib to be on the show. You will be really our testimony and how important it is to have scholarship, and to get it. I mean, it's not easy, of course, but you are a very successful student and you got a scholarship here in Canada. So you will really talk about your experience here in Canada. Okay, so I'm so happy. So now just start, Shorof. What is global scholarship?
Okay, first of all, thanks a lot to my friend Yannick Muller. So, and I'm really feel honored. I mean, you gave the opportunity to talk your platform. I mean, why knowledge matter. So it's, and as well as, we are very feeling good. We are on the same path. We are making contribution to the knowledge industry. I mean, your Why Knowledge Matter platform is now globally exploding. So thanks. So what you ask me, then I can share my opinion. I mean, what is global scholarship? Actually, global scholarship, we are running from here in Ottawa. So that means it's a Canadian institution. So we are trying to provide all the authentic information regarding study abroad, scholarship, internship, fellowship, and all the Canadian educational institution updated information we are trying to promote through our website domain. So those people who are, planning to study abroad, those who are a student, he or she might be do some research in the Google. Actually, there is tons and tons of information. So he or she might be, confused which one is the authentic or real source of the. So that's why we are trying to put all together in our website domain, which I mentioned already. I mean, scholarship, internship, study abroad, tuition fee. So that kind of all updated, recent updated information we are trying to put together in our website domain. So people from all around the world, students from all around the world, they can get authentic information from our domain. That is the actually main source. And sometimes students from different countries, they wrote us, and we may refer to different institution. We are trying to help them, to get scholarship, and we guide some student. So that way, actually, global scholarship domain is working now. Though we are from Canada, Ottawa, but we are trying to put I mean, US, Europe, I mean, UK, or Australian, I mean, even all around the world, scholarship information we are trying to provide and promote. That's the thing. And you mentioned as well as, I mean, my I mean background actually, yeah, you rightly mentioned that I was, I mean, when I started my career, so I was actively involved in the non-profit sector. So still I'm doing, and we are trying to help I mean those people who are physically handicapped, I mean people known that as in I mean disabled or special needs children. So we are trying to get them, I mean, non-formal education. We are doing several activities, recreational and cultural program. Through cultural program, we are trying to give them education and mainstream of the grassroots level, or I mean remote level disabled student. So that way, actually, we are working. Still, we are working. So as well as my identity is now, I mean, I'm representing the global scholarship. Thank you.
So this is really important, and as you said, it's really authentic information, so you can easily get lost when you go on Google, right? And so that's what I find so nice in this website is when you, let's say you look for something maybe UK or Australia, you can actually go and it's already a little bit funneled, so it's not such a big challenge. And as you said, it's really information that is you know, from actual institutions, right? So now I just want to ask Adip a little bit about the importance of, or do you have anything to add, Shorov?
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned, me also mentioned that, I mean, authentic information. Actually, nowadays, I mean, where you are is not a problem. I mean, nowadays, world is in your hand. I mean, in one device. So you can get all the information from within a second, within a minute. But you have to have to a smart way to find the authentic information and source. The smart means, I mean, I'm talking about the student, those who are planning to study abroad or get a scholarship. He or she have to have the smart plan. Smart means, as I can say, specific. He or she should be specific or focus on, you know, what she wants actually. And as M, it should be his or her plan is measurable. And A, S M A means achievable. Which one he or she can achieve? His or her plan should be achievable. So SMA R and realistic, and it should be time bound. That way, if any student, those who are, I mean, planning to study abroad or get a scholarship or fellowship or different types of bursary, so he or she have to do more authentic research on the. There is tons of information, but again and again I'm mentioning them that, I mean, he or she have to be smart, I mean, research to get the authentic sources. Thank you, my friend. Maybe exactly. I'll be come back again.
Exactly, yeah. So now, Adip, I really want to have a little bit your take, you know, how important it was for you to get a scholarship and, you know, how you actually got it. So just give us a taste about your successful journey up to now, really, because now you're, I believe you're doing now your master's, you know, in physics, and at Carleton University in Ottawa. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, super exciting stuff. I mean, getting an education is in a lot of people's plans. I know back in our parents' times, and a degree might have meant more, right? But nowadays, a degree can only take you so far. You need a mix of education. You need to, like Shoro Uncle said, you need to plan your education properly, because at the end of the day, an education is an investment, right? Would you go into putting thousands of dollars into anything else without thinking about it long and hard before doing so, right? So you have to come to schooling with the same sort of approach, especially secondary schooling, right? Because using those tuition fees, you're essentially investing in yourself for the future, right? Trying to secure a job in the future, trying to secure yourself a good education, have better knowledge so that you can be in a better place and have better footing once you get into the workforce and whichever opportunity you might choose, right? So like me, for example, I'm a student in Canada. So I was born and raised in Canada, Ottawa, Ontario. And growing up in Ottawa, schooling is not the hardest. So from grade 1 to grade 12, it's not all too difficult, right? So if you're a smart student, you can get by without maybe studying or without having to think too much about what you're going to do. But then comes the time around in high school, everybody's asking the question, right? What are you going to do after high school? What are your plans for the future? None of us are really fortune tellers, right? So you can't really know for certain what you're going to do, but a lot of people are set on specific goals and they're focused, right? So I want to reach this point, and then this point, and they want to do it as efficiently as they can, as smartly as they can. So while I was applying to universities, my grades in high school were good enough to secure me an entrance scholarship. So in Canada, how it works is essentially if your grades are good enough, there's different levels of entrance scholarships. So you might be provided $4,000 off your tuition every year if you maintain a grade of 80% or higher each year, right? And to get that scholarship, your overall grades in your grade 12th year for the classes that matter the most will need to be maybe, let's say, 90% or higher, right? Again, universities really depend on the year and the students who are applying, right? So it's like your fellow peers, they're all your friends, right? But at the end of the day, in friendship, there's always going to be some competition. And in university, that competition shines through. So for a course, for example, if there's 5,000 students applying, they're going to take a look at the grades and the overall performance and extracurriculars of all of those students. And they're going to make those considerations in picking the students and then handing out the entrance scholarships. So entrance scholarships are one idea, but there's far more financial help that you can apply for. Like there's bursaries. Let's say your grades weren't good enough. There's to get scholarships, entrance scholarships. There's OSAP that can cover your fees for tuition. So that's
Can you just
provided.
explain us for what it means, OSAP, for example?
So here in Canada, OSAP is a government funding projects which provides students who can't necessarily afford university with loans. So the students are provided loans for their tuition or grants. So you're given a loan and a grant. The grant you don't have to pay back, and the loan, whatever loan there is, you're going to have to pay back. And the conditions are that you stay in school once you get the loan from OSAP, you're considered a student, right? So you need to stay in school and you need to at least pass your semesters. For example, you can't if you're taking a full workload, you can't fail more than like 2 or 3 classes. So you need to pass at least 4 classes to retain the OSAP money and not have to pay it back in the next year. And so that's a helping hand for a lot of students. But you also have to be careful, right? Because a loan isn't like a scholarship or a bursary or a grant. A loan is money you have to pay back, right? So it should always be in students' minds that you want to minimize loans and you want to minimize the amount of money that you're going to be paying to go to secondary school anyways, right? Because if you're smart enough, you can get scholarships. And if you sometimes are persistent enough, you can research hard, like Shoro Bankil mentioned, and you can actually find scholarships that not many people apply to. Like, for example, there might be a Muslim student scholarship. All you have to do to be eligible to gain that scholarship, for example, it might be to write a short essay about why you deserve this scholarship and what makes you a Muslim and what you're trying to get out of school. If you submit that essay, you're automatically enrolled in a chance to get that scholarship, a free $3,000, a free $4,000. And at the end of the day, tuitions aren't cheap. Even for a student in Canada, if I wanted to go to school on a full-time schedule, it would maybe cost me $8,000 for a year, right? And I know for international students wanting to come to Canada, it's far, far greater, maybe $20,000, maybe $40,000, right? If you want to go to the United States, if you want to go to Canada, maybe it's somewhere around $20,000 a year. And that $20,000 is just for school. It doesn't even consider your living expenses, like having to rent a place out and live there, having to get food every week, every day, right? What are you going to eat while you're going to school? Who's going to clean your dishes? Who's going to do all of the maintenance at the place you're living at, right? So there's a lot of things to consider when you're a student, maybe coming from abroad. They have a little bit more planning to do, whereas me, I have a little bit more freedom. I can stay with my parents, for example, or I can work from home, and it won't be as much of a hassle for me because I'm born and raised in Canada, and I have a lot of information about what financial help I can get. And my grades are good enough for me to maintain some entry scholarships that I don't really have to apply or work for. They're just handed out to me since my grades are high enough, right? But if you do that further bit of research, there's many different opportunities that you can come by. There's co-op jobs you can come by. There's interviews and internships you can come by. There's bursaries and extra scholarships that you have to apply for that aren't just handed out to you, right? So if you're a dedicated student, it would be obviously in your best interest to research as much as you can. And like you mentioned, and like Shorob Uncle mentioned, a lot of this information can be found in a single place on the one website, right? globalscholarships.shortorshi.com. So it will really it'll cut down your time searching on the web, because we've all been searching on the web before. You click one thing and there's like 3 pages of just a bunch of these different websites, different links, right? So you're going to spend a lot less time having to sift through a bunch of different websites trying to find some valid information. It's compacted in one place for you, basically, in this website, which is a good tool for research, right? You don't want to be researching all over the place. If you can get your information in one place, it's a good source to go to, right? So for me personally, being a student, I feel like scholarships are a very important part about school, but a lot of people overlook it, or they don't research enough into it, and they can't find the scholarships that they might be eligible for or might not be eligible for. So my best advice to students who need financial help, or you might not even need financial help, would be just to research as much as you can into scholarships, into internships, and different opportunities that institutions are providing to you, because education, like we all know, is a very important part of our society. Well, how our society runs is we put a lot of faith and trust into people who get educated, and people who can do very demanding jobs or very educationally specific jobs to the best of their ability, for example, right? So while you're going along your journey in school, you definitely need to take advantage of the different financial nettings provided to you and afforded to you, right? So it's a good place to fall back on. Even if you don't need the money, it's going to be money out of your pocket that you don't have to pay to get your education, right? I know a lot of students right now, a lot of my friends right now, even though they're out of school and they're in a good paying job and they're working, they're still struggling because alongside paying their bills, they also need to pay back slowly their OSAP payments. So the loan that they got from the government to study. So you can't forget the loan at the end of your studies is going to come back to bite you if you forget about it, right? Maybe $20,000, maybe $24,000 for your full time in school. You're going to have to pay that back at the end of your study session. So it's a good thing to keep in mind to minimize your costs, right? It's going to take less headache off of you in the future if you do take a little bit of time right now to study the different sources of income that you might be able to be provided with, right?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, because oftentimes, but it's in general in universities, there's so many things that you can do. It's overwhelming oftentimes. And then people also feel like, oh no, in any ways, there's too many applicants, so I don't want, because I never will get it. But usually, that's a thing. It's actually not so many people often, as you said, actually don't really think about it, or they think, oh, it's just too many or too hard. So I think that's a really good, important point.
Yeah. And especially early schooling, it teaches you a lot how to do those medial tasks, right? Maybe write something up, fill something out, reading comprehension. So you might as well take some of your free time and put it to use, right? Because like you mentioned, if you leave it for the next person to do, you'll never make any shots that you don't take, right? At some point, you're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to think about the future. You're going to have to take the shots. You're going to have to put yourself first so that you can be in a position maybe to help others as well,
And that's really, I love that. You got to take the shots,
Yeah.
Otherwise that's so true. That's really
What's
good.
the point of all the training, all the years of school, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, here I can, just some add-on. As Adip mentioned, education is an investment. So it's your life investment. So whenever I deal with many students, they wrote us. So there's the most common request, or and they do ask, can you please help me? So I just right away I ask them, what do you want? Then they sometimes people confuse. Actually, which one I mentioned earlier, he or she have to have the smart way. He or she need to do some authentic resource, and he or she need to be or have to be, I can say kind of SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means, SWOT. Again, is strength. Which one is your strength? You need to find out. And which one is your weakness? It's not about that abroad education or different institution. I can say some student here, his or her passion is actually, sports. Look like you, your one is sports. So why not you guys, searching the sports scholarship? There is many education institutions in all around the world. Those who are especially, offering the scholarship for the sportsmen. So that way I can say SWOT means, which one is your strength, which one is your weakness, which one is your opportunity, SWOT, and which one is your threat. Some threat means right now everybody are planning to study abroad, go abroad, but now pandemic is come up. Any natural or a human disaster or any kind of threat comes to you, so you need to be pre-preparation you have to have. Proactive. Then you can cope, then you can face. Exactly. Yeah. So right away I can most of the time that one, many of my relatives, many of my friends, they're saying, even parents also ask me, can you please help me? I right away I ask them, what do you need, my friend? I just ask them, why not you ask 5W1 is? 5W means what do you want, why you want, where you want, and whom, and then how you can achieve. If some student do that way, I mean, his or her, I mean, academic SWOT analysis. And if he or she follow the 5W1 is formula, and then the smart way, the study plan, then he or she might be success. So I absolutely, I mean, agree with Adib, and as well as the Yannick, you are contributing, I mean, a tremendous job to the knowledge making industry.
Adib and Jourov, it has been such a pleasure to learn about global scholarship. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Yannick, for having us. It was a pleasure. Yeah. If you ever have any other topics as well to talk about, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, thank you, my friend Yannick Muller. So we are feel honored to, contribute some few words regarding global scholarship, study abroad, international volunteering. So people can log in our website and they can get information, and as well as, I mean, why knowledge matters. So again, thank you, the unique platform. We are part of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jan.
Adib, Pak, and Shourov Barua.